Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dive Spear Eat, and today we're finally getting out on the water. It's been like almost 2 months since I've last dove, and I've been a little busy, and also in addition to that, conditions have not been that great, or even if they're great, it's been raining. And for those of you in Southern California, we do get a good amount of runoff, so you can dive after a rain or during a rain if you wanted to, but just higher likelihood of getting ear infections or something, so I stay on the safer side on that front. But anyway, we're heading out today to go for some white sea bass and heading out to the water. I'm not going to say where. I know one of my videos on Instagram went, I guess, community viral in some ways. I still think I'm still formulating my thoughts around the topic is around saying general areas for where I'm going in these videos. So I thought it was fair game, but I understand that it's weird because we want more people in the sport, but we also are kind of going after a finite resource. So again, with all that being said, I'm not making a statement or anything. I don't have a solid perspective on that yet. I'm still formulating my thoughts, trying to capture as much info as possible. But anyway, back to the dive. The reason why I bring that up is because I will acknowledge that and kind of share my opinion, because I mean, whether you like me or not, I think there is some sort of platform that I do have, and I do think there's some sort of responsibility there as well. But anyway, back to the dive. We're heading out for some white sea bass, and I'm going out with my dive buddy Kay, and I typically like to cap it at 3 people tops, including myself, when going for white sea bass, even though I have plenty of dive buddies out there. The reason being is you want to be as quiet as possible. Yes, if you have 5 divers and they're all quiet, it could work, but white sea bass get spooked very easily, so you want to be as quiet as possible, so you limit the people, limit the noise. That's the logic, at least. So we're gonna head out, and I do have some merch dropping very soon. I've had the hats for a little bit, and I have some shirts coming up. It's a collaboration with an artist, so I'm pretty excited for it, but I will keep you all posted. But thank you for your support, and I hope you enjoy this video. Now let's go. Hopefully, glad to be out in the water again. Conditions are looking okay. White sea bass season is upon us, and therefore we're just targeting those guys. And more importantly, in this particular spot, this is a SMCA, which stands for State Marine Conservation Area. Essentially, for us divers and spear fishermen, pelagics only, that's all it means. So no reef fish, can't take anything except for pretty much what's white sea bass and yellowtail. You're probably not going to encounter a tuna. Shore diving probably, but if you do, you could bring it, but only pelagics in these particular areas. So I will link to a map that the California Fish and Game have, that's super easy to use. It's not just for SoCal, but across California. You can see if you have like where the marine protected areas are, where the SMCAs are, and even the full-on restricted MPAs. So anyway, here we go. As you can see, the conditions are a little murky. It's okay. Surf was about a 1.5 feet, winds 2 to 3 knots, and surge, so essentially the current going in and out, I would say would be like light to moderate this day, so pretty stable, I would say, and not too choppy up top. So here we go, heading down, and you can see it's pretty murky. In this particular video, I'm going to be going over a couple of the tactics that I used. I'll cut to the chase. There were no white sea bass in this particular video, to be honest, but for those of you that haven't caught one yet or are looking to hopefully learn a tip or two, this video I'll kind of explain what I'm doing, what I've learned for myself, and what I've learned from other divers. So tip number 1 is staying on the edge of the kelp. Essentially what that means is the edge of where an opening might be in a pocket of a kelp forest, or even at the edge. I've noticed that that tends to work best. You have some visibility with the light, and also it does seem to be a better strategy. Second, tip 2 is to try to stay parallel with the surface of the water. So essentially your legs, your spear gun, and everything is level, so nothing is pointing downward. So if you do have to move a little bit, it's reduced or maintained up on the surface. Trying to stay flat as possible there, versus dangling your fins or your gun downward. And tip 3 is you want to swim in the mid column to maybe upper if you are going to dive. And again, I can't emphasize this enough, be as stealthy as possible. What I like to do is in the early part of the dive, in the shallows, I'll take a quick little jab dive, release all the air in my wetsuit. I typically have some build up in my lower back, and perhaps for me in my goggles, I like to seal that a little bit before I start really diving, just to make sure any air bubbles that could escape are out of there, so not to spook the fish when you're down there. And that concludes this dive. Not much really going on. No white sea bass, unfortunately. One of my shortest sessions for sure. Less than an hour. 13 feet is the deepest. You can read the stats. Nothing super spectacular there. But I didn't hear much croaking. Visibility was not great. And most importantly, the booties. The booties, I tried 4 millimeters instead of 2, and they were extremely tight and very uncomfortable. I will not be using them anymore. They were really making my feet ache during this entire dive. So there I go. I'm getting off my soapbox now. All right, we are back on land. No fish for today, but we did hear from some other folks that were in the area that there were white sea bass in the general vicinity caught the day before and the day before that. So we just weren't lucky, and I was just trying out 4 millimeter booties. I usually run 2, and 4 was not the move. It was definitely warmer, but it really hurt my feet. I thought I had a little bit more wiggle room there, but guess I don't. So test your gear before, it's so obvious, but test your gear before you try them out in the water. But conditions were so-so. Visibility in the best spots were about 8 feet hazy. And then much of the kelp area was probably around 5 or 6 feet hazy. But yeah, I was hoping for a ghost to pop through. But once I got back on land though, where I was diving, there were dolphins that started coming up, which was interesting. But anyway, enjoyed the water. The water is still a little cold for this time of year, in my opinion, but I had a great time out on the water. It's been over 2 months. Hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, this particular spot, you saw from the recap, it's really shallow, which was really interesting. And just when I first started and I was thinking of how to catch white sea bass before I didn't know too much about spearfishing, I thought you had to dive pretty deep for white sea bass. Maybe you do sometimes, but shore diving, you still can catch them in 10, 15 feet of water. You just gotta be quiet, be lucky. I try to stay on the fringe edges of the kelp and see if they come through. But name of the game is be silent. Kicking is quiet, diving is quiet, everything, try to be as stealthy as possible. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, keep an eye out for the merch. I'll be dropping it soon, and I'm really excited to announce a collaboration with an artist. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.